Rather, there's an article in the New York Times that I do think sheds light on it, even though this is not an unauthorized leak. You don't hear people demanding the heads of the New York Times reporters who published this supposedly deeply secret information. You don't hear any suggestion that the DOJ is going to bring charges against them, or Ukraine war supporters advocating that they do, even though this is supposedly very sensitive information. And I believe that's because the power centers in Washington wanted this to be out as a reason to try and convince Americans why Ukraine is so important to the United States. And this is the New York Times not acting against the CIA, but serving as their spokespeople. And the headline was, quote, "The Spy War, How the CIA Secretly Helps Ukraine Fight Putin." For more than a decade, the United States has nurtured a secret intelligence partnership with Ukraine that is now critical for both countries in countering Russia. Now, look at the framing of that. This CIA relationship with Ukraine, says the New York Times, is now critical for both countries in countering Russia. So are you wondering at all why nobody is saying, oh, the New York Times published this sensitive information, they should be treated like Donald Trump and charged under the Espionage Act? Or like Julian Assange or like Edward Snowden? After all, they're supposedly leaking some very sensitive CIA intelligence there about a, quote, secret intelligence partnership with Ukraine. But the way you know that it was an authorized link, it was a mandated link, is the way it's framed. This is now a critical tool for both countries in countering Russia. Obviously, anybody who sees Russia as a threat to the United States, certainly which is almost the entire Democratic Party at this point, and large numbers of Republicans as well, would look at this and say, oh, this is another reason why we need to fight Ukraine, because the CIA program that we have there is, quote, critical for both countries, the U.S. and Ukraine, in countering Russia. Here's what this supposedly adversarial to the CIA article says, quote, "The underground bunker built to replace the destroyed command center in the months after Russia's invasion is a secret nerve center of Ukraine's military. There is also one more secret that the New York Times is going to expose, because that's what they do. They expose the secrets of the powerful. Quote, the base is almost fully financed and partially equipped by the CIA. The intelligence partnership between Washington and Kiev is the linchpin of Ukraine's ability to defend itself. The CIA and other American intelligence agencies provide intelligence for targeted missile strikes, track Russian troop movements, and help support spy networks. But the partnership is no wartime creation. It took root a decade ago and has transformed Ukraine, whose intelligence agencies were long seen as thoroughly compromised by Russia, into one of Washington's most important intelligence partners against the Kremlin today." So you see, every paragraph is framed to convince Americans to support the CIA's policy, because this CIA program that we have in Ukraine that we might lose if Ukraine loses has become, quote, one of Washington's most important intelligence partners against the Kremlin today. And obviously people hear the Kremlin and they think, oh, that's the evil thing that's threatening us, and therefore anything that is an important intelligence partner against the Kremlin, such as Ukraine, is designed to become of great importance to Americans. That's the point of this article. Even though it's framed as a intrepid bit of exposure by the New York Times revealing the secrets of the CIA, it's obviously carrying its water propagandistically.